Hello everyone. Um, just a little quick update with the mapping tutorials. Um, just so you guys know, I am still going to continue the basic tutorials, even though some people say I shouldn't because there's already too many or I don't do it right. But the main point of the basic tutorials anyway is I just wanted to teach people how to make a map work properly on multiplayer, not to um make it look pretty or how to map correctly. But I will make another separate tutorial series that's more advanced. But I was planning on having it after the basic tutorials. But it looks like I have to cut to the advanced tutorials a bit sooner than I expected, because a lot of criticism here is saying that it's just some people were saying that the map was not made correctly, and I know that. It mainly was just a quick little map that I made that I just needed to try to get as fast a point of the tutorial series itself, because I just wanted to get to the level edit parts where you put in the building controller, set up the waypoints, Tiberium, and everything. So yeah, I'll go ahead and get started on that, but yeah, in some of the people here did seem kind of harsh in my opinion, though they might not say that, but you know, this guy here made a tutorial as well, but there's not really any commentary in this or anything, but the map itself, I guess, turned out okay when he didn't level it. But I actually even saw this before I released multiple parts of my tutorials, because I saw this tutorial as a suggested video of my first part. So yeah. And yeah, this is the Renegade forum I put on for the mapping tutorial series, just to spread the word. But yeah, so I'll definitely be making more advanced tutorials. But yeah, maybe I'm making this little update a little too long, so I'll go ahead and cut now. I'll see you guys later, and actually, right after this, that'll be the basic tutorials again. So, all right. Now, maybe it's time to go and extract this into a W3D file. So, if you're using Renex, it should already have a W3D exporter. If you go into Export, W3D, and name the map whatever you want, I'll call it TUT, as in tutorial. So, go on to use a Renegade terrain, because it is a terrain in fact, so don't use anything else here. So, sorry if I slip over my words all the time, it's a little habit of mine. Hopefully, it's not too big of a problem for you guys to understand me. So, so now, I guess that's pretty much it for that. Now, all we need to do is import it into Level Edit. So, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description for Level Edit, but it's pretty much called Renegade Public Tools. It comes with other tools like a W3D viewer and, I don't remember the other thing, but it includes Level Edit. So I'm going to call this tutorial. Okay. Did this load? Okay. So, we got ourselves a brand new mod package in Level Edit. Level Edit's pretty a handy program released by Westwood themselves, but I have a modified version made by Jonwil, which is also available at renegadeforums.com. So let's go ahead and import our terrain. So go and click add here. Add temporary, actually. Add temporary, put in your map name or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter what you put here. In the model name area, you're gonna have to open your W3D file, but don't just go searching around for it. You're gonna have to put your W3D file here where the mod package is installed. So you're gonna have to go to wherever you exported your map. Yeah, here we are. Tutorial. Oops. Actually, it's there you go. And wherever you installed it, program files. Please Renegade public tools, level edit, and tutorial. Alright, there it is, right there. And then all you need to do is put there. You don't need to worry about this. Not really that big of a deal here. Okay. Now, it's there and ready. All you need to do now is click the make button, and it should be right there. It's gonna take a while to load though, no matter how fast your computer is. This program's so dang old. Okay. So, oh yeah, forgot to create the physical file. Completely forgot about this. When you make your map, you're gonna have to be sure you add physics to it. So how you do this is select whatever model or mod O's, so you can select more than one for this, if I can. Jeez. There you go. You gotta go to this hammer, utilities, W3D tools, and for the collision options, physical, projectile, vehicle, visual, VIS, as in well, I'll have to explain this later. It's more advanced, and camera. So the camera collides with that as well. And I'll go ahead and believe that's about it. Yeah. Save that. Again, let it do its thing. Export it. And this time I'll go right to its directory. Program files, Renegade public tools, level edit, tutorial, and overwrite this. Oops. Now just create a new one and make it again. And it should be fixed. Sorry about that, guys. Let this load again. Though what's making it load is, well, it's mainly the buildings itself that makes it take a while to load, but it even takes longer for it to load if we put on the building controllers. So if we did that, it actually loads all the character models and vehicles that come out of those factories. So we got ourselves some buildings. There's actually some lighting glitches. I'm not sure, but I never really seen these lightning glitches before. What? I think this might be a way to solve it. Go into lighting, compute, vertex, solve, check calculation, and let's see if this works. Shouldn't take too long. Depends on the speed of your computer, though. There you go. That solved it. Alright. So we got those lighting glitches out of the way. So we got ourselves some buildings. Important level edit. So before we actually go placing these building controllers that controls the buildings itself, let's go over the basics of level edit itself. You got the default camera mode, F5, which is usually your refresh button, but okay. So how you control the camera, you hold down the right button to zoom in and out, and you hold down the left button to look around. You can also restrict what axis you turn around by these constraints here. You can go down, up and down the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. But usually just keep those unchecked. But here's the object mode. You can select other object sets in the map, but there's none right now, so that's pretty much all it does. The orbit, actually, this is pretty buggy because it sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. It's not working right now, so you got the height field edit mode, which is a bit more complex. We'll talk about that later, and the walkthrough mode. So what walkthrough is pretty much you click this and you turn into a human, which is Havoc. But you might see your level edit freeze when you do this. So if it does freeze, you just gotta hit the start button. It'll get you out of that, and then it'll load successfully. I don't know why it does that, but it does. Just because it can, I guess. So those are pretty much the basic tools in level edit. And I think my building placement here is pretty okay. I think the power plant's a little too exposed though, but it's not too big of a deal. Though this map is a bit bigger than I imagined it, so it's not a big deal. It's not like I'm releasing this map or anything, because it's not good quality. It's just a little tutorial map. So yeah, let's go on with the building controllers. So for most buildings, it's pretty basic. You just gotta slap a building controller within the actual building. But for some other buildings, you have to position it in a certain way for it to work properly. So let's just do the easy ones first. In this tab over here, go into buildings, and there's a bunch of sections here. Let's start off with the infantry barracks here. So what you have to do is go into soldier factory and click on the MP GDI barracks and hit make. And now it's loading every single character model in GDI for some reason. Because it can, I guess. Just because it can. And there you go. Now go into object mode up here. And now you can click that. And what I usually do is go click this, which is pretty much pretty useful because it says position a cursor, but it also keeps it all on the ground at all times. So it's pretty convenient for most cases. So I'm just going to place it on top of the barracks right here. It doesn't matter where you put it on the barracks, it's just got to be on there. And you kind of get the idea for the rest of these. But the buildings you have to make sure it's in the right place is the advanced guard tower and the obelisk. And you can't just slap a controller on the weapons factory or the airstrip, because you have to tell it where you want to spawn the vehicle, which I'll get to in a moment. So let's just finish up the rest of these. Oh, you also have to, in the refinery, you have to tell where the harvester will be. you know, harvest. Well, yeah, kind of giving the credits, I guess. So let's go ahead and make the power plant controller. Nothing to load there. So go into camera mode, get a little closer. The view distance is pretty bad in Level Edit. It's not as far as it would be in the actual game, but it's the thing about maps. When you are making a map, you want to make sure that the map's not so open that the view distance doesn't catch it, which makes maps kind of odd looking. So you gotta make sure you watch out for that. Alright? Okay. Let's go ahead and just place it on top of that. And now you go ahead and do the refinery here. Just using my little guy here. Havoc. Press escape to get out of that. And now go into refinery tab, the GDI refinery, make it pretty simple enough, but you still have to do something. Make sure it's in the building a little bit, because that's not really in the building. I like to place it here specifically because it's a nice convenient place right on that GDI symbol. And I believe you'll hit Control P while with it selected, and it creates this little car thing. And this is where the harvester will be deploying all its what it harvested, which is the Tiberium, obviously. So so right now this is facing backwards. So how you solve that is you double click it, I believe. What? No. Well, you can't do this. Do with that. You know what? I'm going to have to turn it around manually, I guess. Oh my god. It's not the easiest tool to use, but it's kind of hard to get things exact because I couldn't go into this specific object into its properties, so I can modify its coordinates. It's not going to let me. It's usually how you usually double click, but to rotate objects you have to hold the right button and rotate it. Just get as close as possible, I guess. And I forgot to mention that the numpad is also useful for navigation, but it's kind of hard to use, so I usually use the camera. Get out of that. Okay. You want to make sure this is centered, because if it's not centered, it's not gonna. The harvester's not going to be able to go into the this bay here. So, and we'll worry about the away path and going over to the Tiberium field that's over there. And let's actually see how well it turned out. Didn't turn out too bad. The wall there I don't really like, but whatever. It's a Tiberium field. But actually, it looks like I maybe kind of forgotten to add a physics model to this, so I'll go and fix that later. But it turned out okay. Let's go back over here. So, for the weapons factory, let's see. Alright, let's go into War Factory, MPGDI War Factory. It's also called a weapons factory in Renegade, but whatever. It's called War Factory in Red Alert 2, in Year's Revenge, which is my favorite RTS of all time. So I usually place it around here. Put on the y-axis. Nope, it's x-axis. Okay. Put it inside. And as well as the refinery, press Control P, and there's your little car. This is where your vehicle will spawn. So, yeah, I could need to rotate it, obviously. There you go. And in the y-axis, just bring it in there. Make sure it's centered, though, because if it's not centered, if it's a big, giant mammoth tanks, it's gonna get stuck in there. It's gotta be sure it's centered within the actual factory, so... there. It looks about centered there, so you just need to bring it inside. Seems kind of cramped in here, actually. But, I might need to bring it forward a tad. Yeah, I guess that's about right. That's okay. Okay, I just don't want to take too much time on that. So, I'm guessing this tutorial is already split into a few parts. This entire take. So, for the advanced guard tower, it's gonna be under generic buildings, and it's gonna be the one at the very top. But this is where you have to place at a specific place, or else it's not gonna work. Or well, it will work, but this controller also is responsible for positioning the little mini guns that are at these areas across the AGT. So if you go into in game when this is done and it looks kind of odd like that, then yeah, you can reposition it later on. But what you have to do is just place it right on top of the AGT. Pretty much it. Pretty simple enough. But it's probably not going to be looking okay in game because guns might be floating around here or something. If that's the case, you can rotate it on the z-axis and move it around a little bit until it looks just about right. So that takes care of the GDI buildings itself. So let's go ahead and save this. Tutorial.level. There you go. Okay. And just so you guys know, it's got an export to mix section here. That's not technically, well, in the default version of level edit. It's just export to mon package. So the Jonwil level edit version has export to mix, which is a lot more convenient. So I highly suggest you get that. And here we have all our maps. I do have a lot of maps here from a big giant map pack. So a major thing about naming your map, make sure it begins with CNC underscore. And you can go and place it in your Renegade data folder. If you don't know where that is, you have to look up yourself because it's by default, and if you have a standalone Renegade, it's gonna be like in your main drive, C, Westwood, Renegade, data. But if you have the first decade, it's probably gonna be in your program files. If you have a 64-bit computer, it's gonna be in the x86 program files folder, and it's gonna be somewhere around that in there. But I don't have the first decade. I have a standalone copy of Renegade.